and other business operations in Australia. And John,
We're at 15 minutes now, so you're over time. I will allow John to do his part, but make sure for future reference to coordinate, please.
ZOPA doesn't seem to currently have any set advertising plan. They rely mainly on word-of-mouth advertisement, which is often spurred by their founder, who is Richard Duvall. He's a very prestigious U.S. businessman. He's often quoted in financial magazines. We are interested in utilizing Facebook, which is ranked second in views in Australia. There are over 9 million Facebook users in Australia, with 6 of those 9 million logging in monthly. This would mean that almost half the population would be viewing our ads. We'd also be interested in making a ZOPA application for further integration to advertise. This is a graph that represents the growth in Facebook users in just the past 2 years. Next slide. And we'd also be interested in advertising on Google, which is the #1 site in Australia, and as it is in many other countries. By using these 2 websites, we would be creating a cheap alternative to standard advertising, as well as gaining many viewers at the same time.
And then our conclusion really stands, again, on what we presented. It is a sophisticated modern economy with a market for ZOPA's products. And we would enter through a wholly owned subsidiary. And as a brand, we create value and an alternative for customers looking for access to capital. And again, because of the current market conditions with the financial meltdown, ZOPA has a very positive opportunity to expand in Australia. And with that, we'd like to take your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Time for a couple questions. So at the venture capitalist.
You mentioned that you would get into word-of-mouth advertising. ZOPA is currently doesn't have a presence in Australia, whereas we do have competitors, local competitors like Idrin and Next. And I was just wondering how and why when ZOPA doesn't have a presence, and also if you considered hiring maybe local PR firms or local advertising firms to actually get the initial word-of-mouth out there.
Sure. Well, just because there isn't word of mouth in Australia doesn't mean that we shouldn't expand into Australia. I think for a lot of the market conditions we mentioned, it proves that it's a very strong market for ZOPA to enter into. But to get more directly to your question, I think that what we're really planning to do, by having a base of operations in Australia to do product promotion and things like that, we will be able to have that word of mouth on the ground. And also having been able to expand into Italy and other markets like the United States, other foreign markets where we didn't have the word of mouth presence there either, where we have seen success, we believe that by following the similar path that we have followed in other previous ventures in other countries, we will be able to be successful. And also by, as John mentioned, expanding out through social media and being able to reach out to new media and a younger demographic, that we will be able to get our presence out there, not just word of mouth, but also on the internet for people to see as well. Thank you.
More questions?
So you guys talked about how you were entering Japan at the same time. What kind of issues do you see with kind of entering 2 different markets? I mean, they're entirely different. Entering them at the same time, especially if you're gonna go. I don't know how you're entering Japan, but you're entering as a wholly owned subsidiary in Australia. Especially when you guys have had problems before when you tried to go abroad. You didn't mention it in your presentation, but I'm pretty sure that you had issues in Italy. I mean, I know that was with licensing, but how do you foresee handling entering 2 countries at the same time?
Well, most of our problems to answer the Italy portion of your question, most of our problems with Italy were from the regulatory conditions in that market in terms of financials. We had some problems with their director of finance and economics, minister of finance and economics, and that's what really tripped us up there, and also the problems with the licensing. Whereas Australia, it's a very accommodating for the financials, and I feel like if we've chosen the right mode of entry for Australia, there's no real, our risks are they're all assumed on us, but we've provided a very good case for why we would be successful. And we're an online firm, so there's no, in terms of entering Australia, it's not as full scale as if we were marketing a different product. It's an online presence, and we have a presence in the country mainly because of the regulatory conditions, how they change from country to country, and the laws. So it's not as full scale. And handling that with Japan, well, our division's handling that with Australia, and obviously another division's handling Japan. And we're working with local Japanese firms to get that right in Japan, because obviously the regulatory environment is different. So,
as we mentioned, Australia is also a very deregulated economy. As we mentioned in our PowerPoint, it takes 2 days to be able to start a business under Australian banking regulations. So it's a friendly business environment.
Okay, thank you very much.